of Lord Vena and the sages. So we're in Canto 4, Chapter 14. We'll be going through verses 29 through 46 with focus verse of 41. Thank you, Drista. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Kunda Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Jaya Girivarada Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Kunda Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Kalasanji, Radha Kalasanji, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Permanente. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We can all recite together. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devyam Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayasha breshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utamasoke bhaktir bhavati naistaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyantamarandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chaksuranvitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Okay. Vena and the sages. It's getting pretty exciting, right? Sages were just speaking about what they're going to do with Lord Vena. Actually, and then they they confronted him, right? And Lord Vena just said what? What did Lord Vena say? Remember? I said what? Yeah. So you fools. You don't even know who the personality of God is. He's standing right in front of you. And you should be worshiping him. He flips it right on him. So now we're going to see what the sages do. 29, please. And if the first person can read text 29 through 31, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The great sage Maitreya continued, thus the king, who became unintelligent due to his sinful life and deviation from the right path, became actually bereft of all good fortune. He could not accept the request of the great sages, which the sages put before him with great respect, and therefore he was condemned. My dear Vidura, all good fortune unto you. The foolish king who thought himself very learned thus insulted the great sages, and the sages, being broken-hearted by the king's words, became very angry at him. All the great saintly sages immediately cried, "Kill him! Kill him! He is the most dreadful sinful person. If he lives, he will certainly turn the whole world into ashes in no time."
So today's class the topic is responsibility. And we're going to focus on being response-able. Being responsible, response-able. And the difference between the saints and the demons is they're both being responsive, but one's doing it in a saintly manner and one's doing it as a complete demon, right? And the demons, they kill for pleasure, right? What's a demon? King Vena. He's killing for pleasure, causing so many troubles for his sense gratification. But the saints, they also want to kill. But what do they want to kill? Why do they want to kill? Yes, duty, for the sake of the people in general, right? So it's not that the saints really want to kill, but it is that they are willing to kill for the sake of the people in general. So we go to 32 through 34, please.
The saintly sages continued, "This impious, impotent man does not deserve to sit on a throne at all. He is so shameless that he even dared to insult the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. But for King Vena, who is simply inauspicious, who would blaspheme the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whose mercy one is awarded all kinds of fortune and opulence?" The great sages, thus manifesting their covert anger, immediately decided to kill the king. King Vena was already as good as dead due to his blasphemy against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, without using any weapons, the sages killed Vena simply by high-sounding words.
So this is the appropriate use of anger. Right? Nectar of Instruction, verse 1. Somebody must control their anger, right? Srila Rupa Goswami says, and Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, that anger must be controlled in the right way, right? Anger is going to be there, but the devotee becomes angry when two things happen. What are they? What's that, Tulsi? When the devotee is blasphemed or the Lord. These are two rightful ways to use anger. And so the sages have seen the blasphemy of Lord Vishnu, and they take their anger out on Vena, King Vena. Can we just read 35 here, please?
After all the sages returned to their respective hermitages, the mother of King Vena, Sunita, became very much aggrieved because of her son's death. She decided to preserve the dead body of her son by the application of certain ingredients and by chanting mantras, mantra yogena.
So we heard earlier that Sunita was the reason for the great heritage of King Agna to have a demon born in it, right? Because we heard that from the mother the character of the child comes into play. And so you can see right here, she has no understanding that her husband or her child is a demon, right? All she can do is grieve that her son is dead. She has no idea that you can't see his character at all, because she doesn't have good character. But we can give a little sympathy or compassion to the mother who, always sees their children in great light, right? My kid can do no wrong. So who knows if this is such a bad characteristic or a good characteristic as a nice mother. Let's do 36 through 40.
Once upon a time, the same saintly persons, after taking their bath in the river Saraswati, began to perform their daily duties by offering oblations into the sacrificial fires. After this, sitting on the bank of the river, they began to talk about the transcendental person and his pastimes.
No, 240, please. Either way, it's fine. Just please.
When the great sages were carrying on their discussion in this way, they saw a dust.
37.
Sorry. In those days, there were various disturbances in the country that were creating a panic in society. Therefore, all the sages began to talk amongst themselves. Since the king is dead and there is no protector in the world, misfortune may befall the people in general on account of rogues and thieves. When the great sages were carrying on their discussion in this way, they saw a dust storm arising from all directions. This storm was caused by the running of thieves and rogues who were engaged in plundering the citizens. Upon seeing the dust storm, the saintly persons could understand that there were a great deal of irregularities due to the death of King Vena. Without government, the state was devoid of law and order, and consequently there was a great uprising of murderous thieves and rogues who were plundering the riches of people in general. Although the great sages could subdue the disturbance by their powers, just as they could kill the king, they considered it improper on their part to do so. Thus, they did not attempt to stop the disturbance.
So the sages are sitting around speaking on Krishna Katha, right? And they become disturbed. They become disturbed because of rogues and the thieves. But the rogues and thieves weren't present before. Why? Because King Vena at least was controlling them. They were so scared of King Vena that they wouldn't dare even make a peep that would cause himself to be killed. So the sages, they began to speak on what was going on and concerned about the people's welfare. They were seeing these rogues and thieves. So they could, though, right? They just killed King Vena. They could kill the citizens very easily, right? Yeah. Well, they are thieves. The thieves are citizens, but not very good citizens. But you're right. Thank you. No, yeah. Right? The thieves and rogues, they could kill them easily, right? But why didn't they? Rajeshri, why didn't the sages kill the thieves and rogues? Any thought?
Because he wants to protect his money and wealth.
Because they wanted to protect the thieves and rogues did, or the sages wanted to protect their money and wealth?
The king wanted to protect it.
Okay, gotcha. Would you mind handing the microphone to your father for a second and ask him why didn't the brahmanas kill the thieves and rogues? It was what?
It wasn't their domain.
It wasn't their domain. It's interesting, right? Their domain was to kill King Vena, but not the rogues and thieves. But you can see that the Brahmins are in charge of directing the king in what is right and what is not right, right? And whose job is it to direct the citizens on what's right and what's wrong? The king's. There was no king, so they saw it like Gokulananda Prabhu said, it wasn't in their field of activities, right? Their duties, right? So they started to talk about what they should do. Okay, let's go to 41 through 42.
The great sages began to think that although a Brahmana is peaceful and impartial because he is equal to everyone, it is still not his duty to neglect poor humans. By such neglect, a Brahmana's spiritual power diminishes just as water kept in a cracked pot leaks out.
42 and 43, please, Rajeshwari.
The sages decided that the descendants of the family of the saintly king Anga should not be stopped, for in this family the semen was very powerful, and the children were prone to become devotees of the Lord. After making a decision, the saintly persons and sages churned the thighs of the dead body of King Vena with great force and according to a specific method. As a result of this churning, a dwarf-like person was born from King Vena's body.
So the sages, for the welfare of the citizens, decided they had to do something, right? And so their decision was to extract the good parts of Vena's body, which come from his father, right? So pretty interesting, right? Amazingness of mantra in the sages. They're very powerful, huh? Okay, let's do the last 3 verses, 44, 45, and 46, please.
This person brought from King Vena's thighs was named Bahuka, and his complexion was black as a crow's. All the limbs of his body were short. His arms, legs were short, and his jaws were large. His nose was flat. His eyes were reddish, and his hair copper colored. He was very submissive and meek. And immediately after his birth, he bowed down and inquired, "Sirs, what shall I do?" The great sages replied, "Please sit down. Nishida, thus Nishada, the father of the Nishada race, was born. After his Nishada's birth, he immediately took charge of all the resultant actions of King Vena's sinful activities. As such, these Nishada class are always engaged in sinful activities like stealing, plundering, and hunting. Consequently, they are only allowed to live in hills and forests."
So they made the orc race. That's what it sounds like to me, the orcs. Some interesting race. And so the sages, it seems to me they decided to take the bad part out of Vena first. So they grabbed the thighs and churned the thighs. And later on we'll hear how they take the arms of Vena and extract some better qualities out of it. Okay, if we can turn to 41. And we'll go through the Sanskrit and purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is 41. Brahmana samadrik santo. Brahmana samadrik santo. Dinanam samupekashakaha. Dinanam samupekshakaha. Sarvate brahmatasyapi. Sarvate brahmatasyapi. Bina binya bahandat payo yataha. Binya bandat payo yataha. Please, Bolo. Brahmana samadrik santo. Dinanam samupekshaya. Sarvate brahmatasyapi. Dinad bandat payo yataha. Brahmana samadrik santo. Dinanam samupekshaya. Sarvate brahmatasyapi. Bina bandat payo yataha. Okay, let's go word for word, please. Kind of low on time. All together. Brahmana, a Brahmana. Smamdrik, ikpose. Santana, peaceful. Dinanam, the poor. Samupekshasa, grossly neglected. Sarvate, diminishes. Brahma, spiritual power. Tasya, his. Api, certainly. Bina bandat, from the crock pot. Vaya, water. Yata, just as. The great sages began to think that although a Brahmana is peaceful and impartial because he is equal to everyone, it is still not his duty to neglect poor humans. By such neglect, a Brahmana's spiritual power diminishes, just as water kept in a cracked pot leaks out. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Brahmanas, the topmost section of human society, are mostly devotees. They are generally unaware of the happenings within the material world because they are always busy in their activities for spiritual advancement. Nonetheless, when there is a calamity in human society, they cannot remain impartial. If they do not do something to relieve the distressed condition of human society, it is said that due to such neglect, their spiritual knowledge diminishes. Almost all the sages go to the Himalayas for their personal benefit, but Prahlad Maharaj said that he didn't want liberation alone. He decided to wait until he was able to deliver all the fallen souls of the world. In the elevated condition, the Brahmanas are called Vaishnavas. There are two types of Brahmanas, namely Brahmana Pandita and Brahmana Vaishnava. A qualified Brahmana is naturally very learned, but when his learning is advanced in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes a Brahmana Vaishnava. Unless one becomes a Vaishnava, one's perfection of Brahminical culture is incomplete. The saintly persons considered very wisely that although King Vena was very sinful, he was born in a family descending from Dhruva Maharaj. Therefore, the semen in the family must be protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Keshava. As such, the sages wanted to take some steps to relieve the situation. For want of a king, everything was being disturbed, and for want of a king, everything was being disturbed and turned topsy-turvy. Okay, so today's topic is responsibility, being able to respond, response-able. So let's go through how the sages have taken responsibility in this situation. At first, what did they do? Let's go to the beginning of the story, right? They saw that King Vena was very nasty, and they decided to do what? What did they decide to do to try to... they confronted him, right? So first they confront King Vena, and they say, hey, to rule nicely, you need to be a nice devotee of the Lord. And so they respond. King Vena, like we said before, responds with, what are you talking about? I'm the supreme person. You guys are fools. So then they respond again, right? And what response do they go with after that? After Vena says, I am the supreme person. What's their response? What they do to King Vena? They killed him, right? So another response. Okay, so then they think they're all happy and everything's good, but the rogues and the thieves become causing so much problem, right? And they're speaking Krishna Katha. It said that that the question is should they? One of the questions is should they even kill King Vena? Because sometimes it's better to just have a king there that's a bad king than no king at all, because the rogues and thieves could run rampant. So then they decide to do what? In response to the rogues and thieves, they reserve the bloodline of Dhruva Maharaj, right? So these sages are very powerful. They have quite, they're very knowledgeable. And each time when there was a situation in front of them that was distressful to the people in general, they became responsible. They decided to respond. I was thinking about different situations we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam or from devotees or from the stories in Vedic literature of responsible sages, devotees, and persons. Anybody have any stories they can think? Parikshit Maharaj, right? Very good example, Drista. Parikshit Maharaj goes and throws the snake on the sage, makes a mistake. The Brahmin's son curses Maharaj Parikshit that he'll die. Maharaj Parikshit hears of the curse, understands he's going to die, and what does he do? Blames the little boy? Goes and kills him? No, he takes responsibility. Said, yes, I made that mistake. This is Krishna's intervention, therefore I will take the curse. Any other situations that we can understand in Srimad Bhagavatam of devotees taking responsibility? Srila Prabhupada mentions one. Somebody besides Drista, please. Anybody. What's another example of a story? And there's so many of them, right? How about the one that Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport? Anybody remember that one? What did Srila Prabhupada mention in the purport? What devotee did he mention? Jishnu. Do you remember? Vaishnav, sorry. Remember? He mentioned Prahlad Maharaj, right? Prahlad Maharaj took responsibility, didn't he? He took his responsibility by always praying to Krishna, right? Just always being Krishna conscious. Yes, go look another book. Help me with this story. Can we give the mic? You go ahead, please. Go ahead. It doesn't seem on.
As we have heard, when Lord Shiva was in Bhagavatam class, with Mother Parvati sitting in his lap, Mara Chitraketu happened to pass, and he just thought it was so strange. Only Lord Shiva can do that. He didn't intend to offend, but Mother Parvati took it as an offense, and she cursed him, and he took it in a positive spirit.
So many stories, right, of devotees taking responsibility. See, in the mode of ignorance, we sit and we don't do anything. We actually start to blame. Well, actually, excuse me. We'll sit there and just, what can I do? I don't know. And we just get depressed and sad, and we have no response. The mode of passion, what do? Start blaming everybody else, right? Their fault, this, that. Matter of fact, we might take some action. Maybe the mode of ignorance is also blaming everybody else and not taking responsibility. But in passion, we're definitely taking wrong action, right? Srila Prabhupada says that everybody's trying to take action to find happiness, but they're always doing it in the wrong way. This mode of passion is always moving forward in some way, shape, or form and doing it wrong. Matter of fact, in the mode of passion, often we only see two answers, really. Our limitations of right and wrong, enemy, friend, these things. In the mode of goodness, though, we sit back, we take responsibility. What is my duty? What can I do? So in Krishna consciousness, we often prescribe ways to come up to the mode of goodness by first taking responsibility in the ways of finding good association. I don't know what to do. I seemingly only have a couple options. Let me first go talk to my friends. Let me go talk to my mentors. Let me talk to my spiritual master, right? What are the sages doing when they make a decision? They're talking amongst each other, right? They're what should we do? So they come up with a solution. So each one of us being a devotee has great amount of power, a great amount of knowledge, a great amount of all of the six opulences, right? Because you are a spirit soul. Although we might be small in these quantities, in quality, we are just like Krishna. And so we also have these same qualities as the sages. So be responsible. Be able to respond. Do it in the mode of goodness. Speak to your friends. Speak to your mentors. Speak to your spiritual master. Read scripture. Find out the right thing to do. But do not sit back and think that you are incapable. You have nothing. This is very destructive of our spiritual progress. Don't sit back and blame the other person. Take responsibility. Said that nothing is done to you, everything is done for you. So if a situation comes in and we're Krishna conscious, we can understand that Krishna is doing it for us. How? What? Why? That's your personal story. That's your personal ambition. That's your personal relationship with Krishna. But don't sit back and squander that opportunity to get closer to Krishna. Be responsible. Take whatever percentage of your fault that is your fault or your doing in this situation and take 100% of the responsibility. I am going to find out a way how I can make this a best situation for my spiritual advancement. If we do that, and we continue to do that, we can find great momentum in our spiritual life. And we can see that we're stepping closer and closer and closer to Krishna. And does everything get nice and no problems come around? No. Instead, they come, but you can deal with them in a way that's spiritual, and you can see them in a good perspective. This is a Krishna's arrangement, and therefore, you can see I have many different options. But Krishna will help you find the right option. And if you don't find the right option and you make a mistake, still, because you went to Krishna, you're okay. Because you went to him. That's 8:15. Any questions, comments, thoughts, please? I'm feeling like a heavy weight for this morning. Like, wake up, sleepy souls. Maybe I'm putting you to sleep. If that's the case, I apologize greatly. See some smiles finally. There we go.
I was wondering, sometimes devotees, they say, and like this is a good thing always. For example, recently this devotee was like, we should go to all the music festivals. We should set up a table. We should get some tents. We should go to this music festival. We should go to that concert. Go to the yoga studios. I'm like, okay, these are great ideas. So do it. Almost like, I feel like a lot of the time, in ISKCON at least, like if you don't do it, no one will, in a sense.
Mm.
Like when we come up with these ideas or things like that.
Mm.
So I'm just wondering, I don't know, maybe what do you think of that? Our responsibility in the Sankirtan movement. And sometimes it's hard to or hard for me at least, to take charge in projects. I always say like, oh, I don't want to be the leader of it. I'll just follow. Oh, I just want to, be in the back. I don't want to be on the front lines and stuff like that. So maybe if you have any thoughts.
Okay, I think I heard two different questions. The first question is, what about people that come up with great ideas and you want to encourage them do it?
I guess I can clarify that.
Thank you.
Sometimes other people come up with these good ideas, but also we ourselves, we come up with these good ideas, but we just have this resistance to taking charge, or this resistance to owning the idea and executing it. So like the devotee, he was saying this wonderful idea, but okay, then execute it. Or myself, I also have, ideas, but then I don't take the initiative.
So different people have different natures. Some people are idea people, right? And that's nice. We need idea people. We need people that take action too. And even idea people should take action too. What should they take action in? They should be encouraging. They should be giving direction. They should be not just here, it's on your lap, right? So when we hear something of a good idea, we can do a few things, quite a few things. One of them is maybe we don't see it in our actions at the moment. So we put it in our file system. That's a good idea. We put it in our file system, and then we keep moving forward with the things that we need to do right now to move forward in our projects. And then if Krishna really wants it, later on, when we're chanting Krishna, Hare Krishna nicely and being attentive, he'll, with our attentiveness, he'll show it to us. Oh, this is the time. Here you go. Remember that idea that devotee, Das said, Prabhu said, that idea? And you can see it. You can see that it's the time to take that project. So these things that we're offering to Krishna, even ideas, Srila Prabhupada once said that if you make a throne with diamonds and all kinds of jewels in your heart and ask Krishna to sit on it, that is real. So we can appreciate people with ideas that these offerings are real. They're offerings to Krishna. But we have to be practical in what we can do, and if it's the time for it, and we have to, talk to other, our mentors, our friends, and see if it's practical at the time. What do you think about that answer?
Yeah, it sounds like in that even just the contemplation of these ideas is service, or just the idea itself is, at least you're being conscious of, the Sankirtan movement. You're being conscious of how to spread Krishna consciousness. And then I guess there will be a time when it's appropriate to actually act on it, but that doesn't mean the idea is not helpful. So thank you.
It's a nice way to appreciate the other person, but not get flustered in ourselves. Oh my gosh, you're giving me this thing to do. Hey, I really appreciate, that's a great idea, Prabhu. I don't really see, we can even involve them, right? I don't see how to do it right now. Do you have any suggestions? And then maybe maybe that idea person, you start to engage them. You say, okay, well, give me some ideas about how I can implement that right now. And maybe they go, okay, but some understanding of your current situation, they can help. Anyways, the point is if you come with a mood of appreciation for the person, and instead of bringing it back to ourself and going, it's all about me, it's all about me, it's all about me, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. No, Prabhu, thank you, very good idea. I just don't know, Anyways, so it can create a nice, friendly attitude in ourselves and with others by appreciation, right? Thank you for the question. Any questions or thoughts? Tulsi, Prabhu, Hari Krishna, happy birthday yesterday. How was your surprise birthday? Talk about that later.
Thank you, Prabhu. I had a question. So we've seen some other examples when there is a king who is evil or causing a lot of problems. Sometimes the demigods go to Brahma, Brahma goes to Vishnu, and Vishnu says, okay, I'll incarnate. In this instance, it seems like the Brahmanas took the matter in their hands and said, okay, we know what to do and we'll take action. So it's not like a consistent pattern. They just knew that, okay, they knew what to do versus going to the higher ups. In
the other situations, they couldn't do anything. The demon was so powerful that they couldn't take care of him. In Hiranyakashipu's situation, they couldn't kill Hiranyakashipu. They couldn't kill Kamsa. They couldn't. Their power had overridden the sage's power. At least that's my understanding. Prabhupada Priya, any thoughts? Or Gokulakananda Prabhu, any thoughts on that? No? Good? It just seems pretty clear in that sense that they just couldn't do anything. And here that they had the power to. Vena was very powerful, but not powerful enough for them. Any other questions, comments, thoughts?
There's some demons that Krishna needs to kill himself.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, like Kamsa in his previous life, he had some situation where it was that he had to be killed by Krishna, and obviously, like Hiranyakashipu, he was Jaya or Vijay incarnated Vishnu, for the purpose of Vishnu fighting with him and killing him. But Vena was a different story, and there's some like those demons, like Kamsa was a Krishna conscious demon, right? He was always thinking of Krishna, and actually Vena is given as an example of a demon who was not Krishna conscious at all. And so those other demons that were killed by Krishna, then they get liberation. But Vena, because he wasn't Krishna conscious, then he wasn't eligible for liberation. So it was arranged that he would not be killed by the Lord because he didn't deserve liberation.
Oh, wow.
So you have to be qualified to get killed by Krishna. Vena didn't have the qualification.
I couldn't help but laugh thinking that Krishna was protecting the demon so that the time came he could kill them. Let me make him strong enough that the sages can't kill him, because I want Krishna's giving every living entity protection. Any other thoughts, questions? Just he did what? I'm sorry? Yeah. Krishna ran away once, right? Nice. Gokulakananda Prabhu.
It is also mentioned in Mahabharata, those who were killed not just by Krishna, even by his devotee like Arjun, were liberated. So, because she mentioned Jarasan, he was killed by Bhima. And even in case of Vena, the sages, right? Probably they are also devotees, so there will be some benefit.
Yeah, the pure devotee is non-different than Krishna, huh? That's a good point. Wow. Such good points. Thank you all. Just
I appreciate this translation in that it's kind of almost like a Sankirtan verse in the sense that, in our little bubble we may be very peaceful, we may be equal to everyone, but then if you look outside, there's so many poor humans. And I found it interesting that like spiritual power diminishes, like if we neglect the rest of the world. I guess a question would be, what does it mean for our spiritual power to diminish? What does that look like? And then also, how do we not neglect the poor humans?
I want to thank you so much because this was on my list of things to bring up, but I ran out of time for class. So it makes me very happy that you brought this up. Yes, our responsibility in Lord Chaitanya's movement is to be engaged in Sankirtan. And sometimes we think we're in a situation where we can't engage in Sankirtan. Oh, I'm in this situation. Oh, Prabhu, I have a family, this and that. Our Sankirtan is also engaging our family, teaching our kids. So if we have that mood that we're always anxious to spread Krishna consciousness with any way, shape, or form, then we are getting the benefits of the Sankirtan movement in Lord Chaitanya's mercy. We sit down with our family and chant Hare Krishna. Every living entity in our house is getting advancement. So we should think like that too. We should make a connection about how we're engaged in the Sankirtan movement to give us a little bit of a gauge, not a little bit, a gauge, to give us a gauge. Am I being responsible to Lord Chaitanya in this Sankirtan movement by taking responsibility by engaging myself in spreading Krishna consciousness? And you should be able to have answers to it. You should. You should be able to go, this is how or if it's unconscious, then you're living an unconscious life. And Srila Prabhupada said, before we can become Krishna conscious, you have to be conscious. So we should be very eager to find our place in the Sankirtan movement, whatever position it is. Some people are book distributors. Some people are parents, grihastas, right? Or some people are brahmachari and some people are students. We can teach our kids to be mindful of how they're engaging in the Sankirtan movement. Are they being Prahlad Maharaj and spreading this Krishna conscious movement to their students, to their, peers? Srila Prabhupada said that everybody should become guru. So we should also be thinking like this. How am I going to be guru? How am I going to be involved in the Sankirtan movement? How am I going to take responsibility? If we don't think about how to take responsibility to do it, we're really shorting ourselves so much. The Sankirtan movement is so fulfilling. It's so enlivening that if you don't engage in it, you're ripping yourself off. So take some moment in your time, in your life, and say, how am I engaged in it? And I'm not trying to say, change your life, do this, No. Take a deep breath. What is my Sankirtan? How can I engage others? How can I engage in it? How can I make movement? How can I take responsibility in my influence? Remember Sunday we talked about influence? What are the things that we can do to influence other? What's my circle of influence? What's my circle of concern? And how can I engage them in Krishna consciousness? And we will find so much more fulfillment in Lord Chaitanya's movement. So much more fulfillment in Krishna consciousness. I liked your point. Krishna will take care of us. He will give us a nice house. He'll give us a nice financial situation. He does it. We're in bhakti is religion. So automatically we get the benefits of a nice religious atmosphere. Nice friendships, nice association, nice temple, nice prasadam, nice beds, whatever, right? But if we just get comfortable in that niceness, it's nice. I'm not going to sit here and go, it's bad or something like that. But we are shorting ourselves so much because Sankirtan is amazing. Lord Chaitanya's mercy and Lord Nityananda's mercy is amazing. So find yourself a way to think, I'm engaging in Sankirtan, and be conscious of it. Gokulananda Prabhu, please.
Adding to this, I just remember Radhana Swami always says, the biggest responsibility of a devotee in the movement is to be happy. because the happy devotees are the best preachers.
And how can we be happy if we're not engaged in Sankirtan?
It depends on everyone's nature. Some people like to distribute the books. Some people like just to walk into the temple. Some people like to hear. I know I've seen many devotees. They have just passion for hearing. And some people, they like to be in the kitchen. Everybody has a different nature. And Krishna consciousness is so comprehensive. It's so flexible. It awards so much flexibility. It's not rigid. Whatever nature you may come in with, whatever conditioning you come in with.
I just want to check in. I'm hearing two ways this can go. You're agreeing with me that we can all figure out how our nature is involved in the Sankirtan movement, but I'm also concerned that maybe you disagree that everybody happiness really involves in the Sankirtan. So would you mind clarifying? Help me.
No, I definitely agree with your viewpoint. What I'm saying is, we sometimes Maya tricks us, and we get caught up into so many things, the worldly things. So that makes us miserable. And as they say, you might miss the bus. So that makes us miserable. Over small little things. Or this devotee just, walking by. He didn't even look at me. That makes you miserable. I said Hare Krishna. He didn't even respond to me. These are small little minuscule things. And we get caught up because of Maya. So principle is to be happy. Details could vary from time, place, situation.
Thank you, Prabhu. I appreciate the clarification. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Pramanande Hari Hari Bo. Namo Vishnu Padaya. Krishna Pristaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Sarasvati Devi. Gaura Vani Pacharini. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. Pasatari Satari. Vanchakal.